Hello, everyone. Welcome to CPTE Final Frontier podcast. I am Shivangi, your CPTE guide at CPTE Final Frontier, the premier exam preparation course. Visit our website www.cpteff.com to enroll in our courses today. Hello, everyone. Welcome to CPTE Final Frontier podcast interview. Today, we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Tashelle. Tashelle just cleared her CPTE and she cleared it in her first attempt. So let's welcome her first and then ask her some questions and see how she decided and how she made it and cleared this exam. So welcome to the podcast and congratulations.
Thank you. I'm really happy to take part in this.
Thanks for doing this. We're very happy for you. So first, Tashelle, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm originally from Canada. I'm from Saskatchewan, and I've moved down to the US and have been here for about 10 years and did all my schooling down here, did my PT education at University of Wisconsin, and I'm currently in North Carolina and have been working down here for about 3 years now as a pelvic floor physical therapist. And I've decided I want to move home and be closer to my family and move back to Saskatchewan to give back to that community there. So I had to write the CPTE after several years out of school. And so I decided I wanted to try with Final Frontier because I used it to pass the NPTE, the national examination here in the States. So I knew that I was going to be using a good company and have used them to clear the NPT in the first try. So I was hoping that was going to be the case again. And it happened, and here we are. And now the plans can kind of start moving in that direction to go back to Canada.
Yay! Well, we're very, very happy for you. So I have some questions for you. And so hopefully these questions will help the other students that are like planning to take the exam or preparing for the exam, going to tackle this new concept this year. So tell me, like, how was the exam? Like, how did you feel combining an oral section and the written section together? I know you never took the PCE exam, the previous one where it's two separate, but how was your experience going into this exam for the first time, combining everything together?
It was definitely like marathon day where I felt like it took a lot of energy to sort of stay focused the entire time. It was a lot different than any other sort of exam that I've taken in the past, whether it be the MPT or my board certification, because of just like the many ways you were using your brain. So it definitely took a lot out of me. I liked that there was a break in between. That really helped me to shift my mindset and say, like, okay, I'm done the oral component. Now let's focus on the written component. But by that time that you're done the written, you are like pretty tired already. So you definitely want to like take that break so you can kind of shift that mindset over to just like trying to crack what they're sort of asking you in the written portion and looking at videos and hearing audio and all of the things that kind of come up with the sort of advanced written portion.
So how did you simulate like the oral component? Like the oral component, this was all virtual, sitting in front of the computer and stuff. So when you were practicing, when you were studying for it, how did you simulate it? Like, how did you practice for it?
So I definitely made sure that I was participating in the Final Frontier like classes and getting feedback from the instructors during our small groups. But you only get so much time because everybody else wants to practice too. So I definitely found it helpful to find a study buddy who was also going to be taking the exam in February. And so we met a couple times online over Zoom, and she was really great. She was able to use the Google AI and create like exam questions for us, kind of based on some of the material. And so what we did was like our first session, we kind of like just wanted to critically think with each other, and we weren't really practicing verbalizing, but we wanted to verbalize how we were thinking about the answer and the question. just to, get to know each other too. It's always intimidating to like be
Of course.
critically thinking in front of, other peers. So after we sort of settled in with that, then we started to really practice verbalizing and giving each other feedback. And that really, really helped because we practiced for around like some of our study sessions were around like 2 hours, but it was good that we went that long because that's how long the exam is. And so to have that stamina to keep focused, keep talking, keep thinking, keep, listening to your partner and kind of analyzing like, would you say this or would you change something? I think really helped to like give you the stamina and endurance to speak for 2 hours basically straight, because that's basically what happened during the exam.
Wow. Well, you are working at the same time preparing for the exam, right?
Yeah, I'm working full time. I would do these classes in the evening, and it was from like 8:30 at night to 10:30 at night. So I was really tired, like
Yeah.
after work, and then staying up way later than I normally do, and then the weekends. So adding all this extra time, like definitely was a like I had to really make a conscious effort to like stay with my plan. But I knew that if I like really stuck to it and worked really hard, that I wouldn't have to do this again, that it would be over in like whatever 12, 14 weeks that I took to study. So I just really like poured it in to like, all the study efforts, and it paid off. So now I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Oh yeah, no, I don't blame you. I will never take these exams ever in my life again. If even if you pay me millions of dollars, or I'm like, I'll give you a whole new life. I'm like, no, I do not. I'm not taking these
Yeah.
exams again. Like the amount
I,
of stress, it's a lot.
yeah, I was very stressed. Even waiting, it wasn't even honestly getting to the exam. I was anxious to get it over with. And then afterwards, I was so anxious and nervous. I'm like waiting and waiting. We never got an email telling us when we were going to find out. And then we finally got
Yeah.
an email, and it was just, yeah, I was talking to
I
everybody.
hate that surprise component when they're like, oh, the results are out today. No,
Right,
just tell
right,
us so we will start preparing ourselves the night before.
right.
I
The mental
think
preparation.
NPT, on the NPT side, there's a set date, right? Like with the
Right.
NPT,
You
yeah,
2 weeks later or a week later,
yes,
whatever it was, the date, and then it's, so well known that like all the timings, like people track the times when different
yes.
states get it out. But this one was a whole new exam. No one knew how it was even scored. No one knew, how they were going to release the information. But again, I
I
just
know. I
put
know.
my faith in just my studying and Final Frontier and said, okay, let's try it and see what happens.
No, no, you did great. I mean, kudos to you for like going in for this first time and getting it done. And I mean, you could have chosen to like wait until end of this year, let the exam figure it kinks and stuff out, let other take exam and get an update from everyone and stuff. But
Right.
no, you're like, let's get it done. And you did it. So, well, I'm so happy that at least it's done. You don't have to worry about
I'm
it.
so
And
happy to.
the good part is like it's this one exam and you're done. It's not like,
Right.
oh, you cleared half the exam, then you have to wait for another oral component, which in the past it's been like 6 months out, 8 months,
Yeah, that's very
people have to
true.
wait.
I'm really glad that I can just say that I'm done. I can get licensed. I can start working. I don't really have to
Yeah.
stress about timing and then kind of continuing to study for more things. So I think the cap where people kind of like have the right idea. I don't know if it's like
Hmm.
perfect yet, but I can see like why this model is, maybe favorable for folks who are coming over, especially foreign trained physical
Yeah.
therapists.
No, but I understand the return component. I like it. I like it like it's all combined to one, but I'm still worried about like the oral component. Like back in the home country, we definitely had written exams and stuff, but an oral component, well, we did have oral component too. It was more one-on-one
Like
facing the
practicals. That's
professor.
what
Yeah, it
we
was more
called
like
them. Like we did
yes,
practicals where,
we
you
had,
had to like do things and say things.
yes,
But
yes,
this was different because it was like all you did was read and say it and using the information. So you couldn't like there was no other information to gather. There was no other like things to find out, or like you couldn't ask the patient different things. So you
yeah,
really are just taking your what you see on the page. You can't assume anything, and you just say what you think is the right answer.
Yeah, so it is tough. It's not easy.
Yeah, for sure. It
So
was
it's
very hard. It was very hard.
well, you guys, you guys are doing a great job. You guys were figuring it out, practicing, and I feel like your study partner helped you. As you
Oh my
said, you guys
goodness.
are doing it together, preparing, planning, using Google AI and everything. So
Yeah,
that's a really good idea for anybody out there preparing. Find a study partner, sit together, get along every night and, talk, practice talking, practice using your medical terms and everything. And that's the only way those words will keep coming, then
right.
you're saving time. You are not spending too much time thinking. Like it should be at the tip of your tongue, like, so that way you get it done. I mean, nobody
Right.
wants to do this again, so I don't blame anyone. Like, yeah, get it done one time. Well, tell me, how did you balance, like, there is MSK, neuro that you see outside, hands-on patients and everything, but there is other components like ethics, communication, professionalism. How did you balance between the two? Like MSK neuro, you see the patients, you see pelvic floor patients, you see practice hands-on. But when it comes to like ethics, communication, those kind of questions and everything, put it into practice in the clinic or take it from your clinic to your studies back that way. Like, how were you able to connect it? I'm trying to say that way.
Yeah, I definitely am thankful for the experiences that I have had, like just with my clinicals from PT school and now being a physical therapist. We don't give ourselves enough credit in how much like experience in ethics and communication that we do every single day without really thinking about it. So I'm fortunate to have that experience. So I definitely think that like if you do have like a PTA job or an aide position or some kind of patient facing position, that it really helps you to critically think and how to communicate and use your ethical reasoning because you probably do it without thinking about it anyways. But I definitely had to I definitely had to study all of the everything basically because I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist. I don't regularly see folks with neuro conditions or even MSK things. I don't deal with elbows or knees. I don't think about those special tests and things anymore, but I did at one point. So I know I have the knowledge in my head. So I definitely had to like review and go over and make sure that I was not only spending time in the like more of the written or pardon the oral component thinking about the ethics and communication and professionalism, but I did have to like really make sure my foundation was set so that I could use it for the ethical communication professional component. And Canada is different than other places. I am in the States, and the ethics and communication and the sort of expectations are similar, but definitely nuances are different with like reporting and with like who to contact first and what responsibilities you have with different kind of professionals and how to communicate between those professionals. So I definitely had to just like take it like I was a new graduate, that I didn't know anything about the Canadian healthcare system, so that I didn't have to like put my bias for what I would do maybe here on it. And I just had to take Canada for what it was and follow the books. So I
Very
definitely use the Final Frontier ethics classes. They helped a lot to like just frame different things and help me kind of get in that mindset. And then we also, my partner and I, we use a lot of the resources from like Capper and different like college websites that have resources for some of the ethical components and put that into the Google AI too, so that they would give us ethical questions. And that helped too. Like, honestly, I think some of the questions that we came up with were on the exam because there's only so many ethics questions you can ask or how many, different styles you can ask. But they're definitely going to come up on the exam. So being prepared for that was really helpful. I did that near the end of my studying, so it'd be really fresh in my mind. So the last month, last 4 weeks, that's what I really focused on. Because at that point, I was kind of like reviewing a lot of my like MSK, neuro, cardiopulmonary stuff. So it was focused on that near the end.
That's awesome. That's good. That's really good that, practicing, just not reading, but putting it into practice in terms of like questions, that helps. So you can, yes, there's one thing that you learn, but putting that into practice, into those questions, thinking like a PT is what you will need when you go out to work in
Yeah.
a. So,
And in different settings too, because a lot of the questions may be the same, but in different settings, and that changes the whole answer. So you need to make sure you just know it in your outpatient clinic, that you know it in the hospital, that you know it in a sort of like assisted living situation, like knowing all of the different places where the ethics could come out and how that changes the ethics.
okay, awesome. That's good to know. Well, did you have any technology difficulties or problems?
Yes.
Tell me more about it then.
Oh my goodness. It was my worst fear because, of course, you have to use your own Wi Fi connection, your own area. So you really rely on your computer and your Wi Fi. So that could really look like a lot of different things on any given day. So, of course, I did all of the things that I was told to do. I downloaded everything, I checked my internet like days before, everything was fine, everything was downloaded. Then I get to the exam day and I get online and I'm trying to check in, and the person who was checking me in on the other end couldn't see my ID. She told me it was too grainy. And I was like, what the heck? Like, it's not grainy on my end. And then my internet cut out. So it was grainy because my internet wasn't strong enough. And so then it cut out, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not even going to be able to check into this exam. I'm not even going to be able to take it today because I can't even get enough Wi-Fi. I was sitting right next to my Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
Finally, for some reason, my Wi-Fi reset and I was able to get on, and they were able to see my stuff and check me in. So then, okay, oof, I was like, okay, we got it, we made it. Hopefully nothing else happens. And then when you're meeting with your oral proctors, for me there was two people, and they were trying to introduce themselves, and the screen kept freezing because my internet again was not stable, and so they couldn't hear me, I couldn't hear them, and again I was like, I'm not going to be able to write this test today. What the heck is going to happen? Like, do I have to pay for this again? Do I have to do this in May? Like, what happened? So I was like really flustered in the beginning. Some way, somehow, my internet stayed stable and I was able to start my exam. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, what if it drops? Like, what happens? And I think I was on my fourth or fifth question and it did drop. And then the people like came back online and they were like, hey, we couldn't hear you for that last three questions. Like, do you mind repeating yourself? And so at this time too, the clock is still ticking down. And I don't know if they mean I get 15 more minutes or I just gotta keep going. So I was like talking at lightning speed trying to answer these three questions just to make sure I have something to mark and hoping for the best. So after that, everything was stable. And then during the written exam, everything was pretty stable as far as I know. My like extra camera was like kind of further away in the room, like across the room. And they were also like communicating with us like in another screen, like not on your exam screen. So I don't know if my exam ever like went out. I heard for some other people that theirs did and their proctor had to like restart and they lost time and things like that. But I think at that point my internet became stable somehow. But I didn't have any problems in the written. But the oral, of course, I was like, you're kidding. I need to be able to like have my video on and everything and speak. But I try to stay calm. I tried to just, take it for what it was, knowing that this was like the first cohort. So other people were probably going to go through the same thing that I was. And, this can't be perfect for everybody. So, like, Capra needs to figure out what the heck they're going to do about, like, all these nuances when it comes to the Wi-Fi and proctoring and, do you take time away and different situations. So I knew that, like, again, I was just putting my faith out there and trying my best and saw what happened and just try to speak as well as I could, even given some of like the frustration or flusteredness I was like feeling in my mind.
And it worked out. I mean, imagine like, well, you were able to like calm yourself down, but I would have panicked. I'm like,
I was panicking in my mind. I was like, oh my God. But I knew that like this was the day. I had to do that today. This was my effort. So whatever happens, happens. I just need to like, keep trucking because I had the whole exam in front of me. So I just had to like put it behind me.
and then imagine like if you prepared the whole answer for your oral component and you put it out to them and they're like, we cannot hear you. Can you repeat it again? And I'm like, no, I cannot. I had it all this in my brain and I just put it out. Like it's
Right.
all out now. I need extra minute to like reform, like, get everything together in my brain again. So I think they should give those minutes back or something. Somehow they have to figure that out. Like, we'll give you a
Yes.
minute extra, form your answers, think about it, do it again. Like, no,
Right.
who knows?
Just some like extra time allotted for things like that to happen.
And maybe, yes, giving, I mean, it might be good for someone that you get a second chance and then, things that you forgot to say the first time, yes, you improvise and you say it, but it could be the other way too. Like, no, I had give my best shot the first time, but it's your problem. You didn't hear it. So, and I,
Yeah.
yeah, so, oh, no, it's definitely very, very stressful. Like, I would be panicking too. Well, what did you do? Like, so how did you set up your room? Like, you took the exam sitting here in the US, right?
Yes, I was in the US in my apartment. So I have like a little chair and desk kind of area in my apartment. So I definitely set that up to be comfortable for the day. I was lucky that I was sort of just doing some research and looking around the Capper website or maybe somewhere else I found this, but it told you all of like the room specific things that you had to make sure you had all set up before the day of. So that really helped to make sure that I wasn't like finding out about things like the day of, which would have flustered me more because I had to take everything off my walls. I had to, I have a bookshelf and I had to cover it with a plain sheet, no patterns, so it wasn't visible. I had to make sure like the room was not cluttered, so I made sure I like cleaned up and made sure everything looked well, no plants, nothing. So it was very bare bones. And then when I took the oral component, everything was up to standard. But for the written portion, I had to close all my windows because I was sitting by a window. So they made me close all my windows. And then I had a mirror. I have a big, tall mirror in my apartment. I have a studio apartment, so everything's like right here. And I had to turn my mirror around. Um, and I had to move a couple other things, but that wasn't too flustering at that point when I was doing the written. I was just like, ready, tell me what I have to do so we get this
Yeah.
started. But I'm glad that I read that sheet talking about all the things that you need or what your room needed to look like so that it wasn't like the proctor people were like, okay, do this now, do this now. Oh, that's not good enough. And then trying to figure out like, what to put over my bookshelf or how much time I had to take off my pictures on the wall, things like that. So I got it all set up the night before and got everything situated. But that's was a really was lucky that I did that because I think that also just like helped the process of check-in be a lot smoother.
Perfect. Well, awesome. Okay, so it's not too difficult, but again, you have to get all that done, and it makes very easy on you if you do it the night before or a day before. Like,
Right.
take everything off your walls, no pictures, no frames, no mirrors, just a table and a chair, no plants, you said. So
Yeah.
if you get it all, at least you will have a easier start for the day.
Yeah. Then you don't have to think about it. They can say, let me see your room and everything will be good. And you don't have to like spend extra time worrying about it, basically.
Then you just have to worry about the Wi-Fi. You just pray.
Right, just praying for the Wi-Fi and praying that your computer doesn't glitch out and your computer webcam is fine and all of that other stuff.
Okay, one last question. So, what would be a good tip or advice from your side? You've been through this whole process for the students that are planning to take the exam this year or next year with this new concept, new combined written and oral concept.
I would say that definitely get study partners. When you're with people who are working towards the same goal as you, it's easier to stay motivated, it's easier to stay accountable, and it's easier to sort of like commiserate with each other because you're sort of going through it together. So it's nice to have that support along the way. And it's also really nice to have that support when you do clear the exam to really like share that moment with other people. So I think that was something that really helped me get through this time. During my NPTE time studying, I had all my classmates. So it was really easy to go through that and have that same experience. And obviously now I'm in my career, so not everybody is doing this, but having those people on some of the group chats that had formed and making these connections and messaging people really helped you like get to the next level and push. And we shared resources, we all had different ideas about ways to remember different mnemonics and different things like that. So network with the people who are also taking the exam with you. And by using Final Frontier, that's how I found everybody, because the community is so welcoming and non-judgmental that you really find people that are trying to work towards the same goals as you and trying to just be a physio the same way that you are. So there was no competition. No one's judging you if you get a question wrong or ask like a stupid question. Everybody is like really willing to help, and there's always going to be someone that knows the answer. So it was really helpful to be part of that community and like participate in like the conversations that we had going on.
Awesome. Well, thanks for these tips. And I feel like it's really helpful, especially, people are still thinking about taking the exam this year or this whole new concept. So don't be stressed about it. It's just that they have combined together. It's nothing new out of the box.
Right.
You already been a PT before, in the US or your home country. So it's just putting that into practice. Think yourself as a physical therapist. And so that makes it easy to answer those questions. So,
Right.
well, I appreciate your time and thanks for sharing your wonderful experience with us. We're going to definitely have lots of people, watch this and, reach out to you if they need more tips and everything. But I'm
Absolutely.
pretty sure it will help them, be prepared, be more confident in taking this new exam and everything. So,
Yes, it's important to be confident and just even if you're not confident, fake it because that is half the battle, especially with the oral component. If you believe in yourself, that will come across in your answers and whether or not they, grade you on how well you speak as far as like your confidence goes, fake it till you make it basically.
whatever it takes on your side, whatever you need to do, you need to smile, fake smile, you're stressed, just do it. Just do it. Take that step today. That's all it matters. All right. Well, thank you. I won't hold you for long. I know you have things to do and don't want to keep you for longer. So thank you for joining and we'll see you soon in Canada then.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll reach out if you need anything, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for joining today. Reach out to us at support@cpteff.com. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more content. Till then, keep listening, keep learning.